All right, let's jump right in. Today we're taking a deep dive into Inuyama.
Inuyama.
Yeah, it's near Nagoya, Japan. I've been seeing it pop up more and more, as a possible travel destination.
Well, yeah.
And our source this time is a video from a travel vlogger living in Japan. So, insider info.
Sounds good.
Travel, food, culture, all that good stuff. But there's a particular angle here that I think is really interesting.
Okay.
The vlogger calls it Adults Inuyama.
Interesting. Adults Inuyama. That right away suggests something different than, the bright lights of Tokyo or something like that.
Right, exactly. So, Adults Inuyama, what does that even mean? Is that like a common way to market things in Japan?
It is. It is pretty common. When you see something marketed as adults, it really implies, I guess, a focus on quality, refinement, an appreciation for, cultural nuances.
Yeah.
A deeper kind of understanding.
Okay, so not just like a superficial touristy experience.
Yeah. No, exactly. Not just like the surface level, but you're really getting into the heart of it. And you're appreciating the craftsmanship, the history.
I like it already. But okay, let's say I'm sold, right? I'm like, all right, Adults Inuyama, sign me up. How do I even get there?
Well, according to the video, it's really easy to get to. It's just a quick train ride away from Nagoya, like 30 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and they actually mentioned 2 different ticket options that you can go for. So there's the standard train ticket, which is only about $5.
Okay.
Or they have the special Inuyama travel package, and that's about $12.
Okay, so a little more for the package, but I'm guessing it includes more than just the train.
It does. You get your round-trip train ticket. You get admission to Inuyama Castle, which we'll talk more about, I'm sure, and then discounts to other attractions around the city.
That sounds like a good deal, especially if you plan on doing a lot of sightseeing.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've made it to Inuyama. Now, the video starts by taking us on this walk through Inuyama Castle town. And the vlogger, they compare it to Takayama Old Street, which I know is famous for its Edo-era architecture.
Right.
So I'm picturing like all these beautifully preserved wooden buildings, those narrow streets, just very atmospheric.
It's like stepping back in time. The Edo period, it was from the 17th to 19th centuries. And it was a time of such incredible cultural flourishing in Japan. When you think about art, architecture, that way of life.
Yeah.
And so to see these preserved Edo-era streets and the layout and the shops and everything, it really gives you a window into that world.
I love that. And something else the vlogger points out, which honestly, having been to, my fair share of crowded tourist destinations, I really appreciate, is that it's not crowded.
Yeah, they talk about that.
Like they rave about the peaceful atmosphere, being able to take photos without like a ton of people in the background.
Yeah.
Or just stroll at your own pace.
Yeah. That really fits with the whole Adults Inuyama idea.
Right.
It's like you're not being herded through. You can actually take your time, enjoy the space.
It's about the quality of the experience, not just the quantity of sights you're seeing.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've taken in the scenery. Now let's talk food. What culinary delights does Inuyama have in store for us?
All right, well, the video highlights 2 local specialties that you have to try. One is Hida beef.
Hida beef. Heard of it?
It's known for its marbling and like melt-in-your-mouth tenderness. It's one of those, prized varieties of Japanese beef.
Okay, so for all the foodies out there, Hida beef is a must-try.
Yes. And then the other one they mentioned is gohei mochi.
Gohei mochi. I'm not familiar with that one.
So gohei mochi, it's this skewered rice cake grilled over charcoal, and then it's coated with this savory sweet sauce. But here's the thing. The vlogger mentions that they add peanut butter to the sauce.
Peanut butter. Wow, that's unexpected.
Yeah, it is. They describe the texture as chewy, and that the peanut butter adds this really unique flavor to it.
Okay, I am intrigued. Peanut butter mochi. I'm adding that to the list.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got our food itinerary sorted. But before we dive into a full-on food tour, let's talk about where we're staying. The vlogger seems pretty impressed with their hotel.
They are. It's called the Hotel Indigo Inuyama.
Hotel Indigo Inuyama.
Yeah, and it just opened a couple of years ago. In 2022, it's part of the IHG chain, so, certain level of quality there.
Right.
But what's really cool is how they blend that modern design with these really thoughtful Japanese touches.
I love when hotels do that.
Yeah.
They really incorporate the local elements. And they mentioned it's surprisingly affordable for a 5-star hotel,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, which is always a bonus.
Okay, sold. Sold on the hotel. What else?
And then the view. Can we talk about the view?
All right.
They wake up to this panoramic vista of Inuyama Castle right from their room.
Wow. It's like having a piece of history right there with you.
It is. And it's not just the view. Like they have, on the wall, a traditional Japanese map of Inuyama. They have a bamboo lampshade. And get this, they even have an onsen.
An onsen. In the hotel.
Yes. A hot spring bath, which you don't typically find in, your standard Western chain hotel.
No, for sure. Okay. Those are the details that I love. Like it really adds to that immersive experience.
Totally.
So we've settled into our awesome hotel. Amazing view. What's next on this Inuyama adventure?
Well, a deep dive wouldn't be complete without experiencing the local culinary scene, right? So the vlogger heads to this family-run restaurant that's been around since 1978.
Wow. 1978. That's a long time.
It's called Kamura Kawamura.
Kamura Kawamura. All right, I'm writing this down.
Yeah, take notes.
What do they have?
Okay, so they went all out. We see them enjoying a sashimi platter, deep-fried skewers, with both original and red miso sauce.
Hold on, red miso sauce. What's that? Is that different from the regular miso paste I have at home?
It is, yeah, red miso, or AKA miso. It's got a much bolder flavor, more intense, because it's fermented longer. And it's actually a staple in Aichi Prefecture, where Inuyama is.
Okay, interesting. So it's a regional specialty.
Definitely a good way to experience those local flavors.
Okay, noted.
Okay, what else did they have? Oh, they had fried tofu with the miso sauce and tuna, and then both deep-fried and grilled ayu.
Wait, back up. Ayu. What is ayu?
Oh, right. Ayu is a type of sweet fish, considered a delicacy in Japan, seasonal, known for its, sweet, delicate flavor. They often grill it over charcoal to bring out that sweetness.
So it's like a taste of summer in Japan.
Pretty much, yeah.
Man, this all sounds amazing. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Kamura Kawamura. You're going on my list for sure. So after this incredible meal, where to next?
Well, they head back to the hotel, and as they're in their room, they see something pretty magical. Fireworks.
Fireworks. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and the video captures like the excitement of all the locals gathering along the riverbank to watch the show.
Fireworks are always so special. And in Japan, they hold such cultural significance, right?
Yeah, they do. Fireworks festivals or Hanabi Taikai, they're like this beloved summer tradition. It's about more than just the visual spectacle. It's about people coming together, appreciating that fleeting beauty, making memories.
Yeah, I love that. It feels like the perfect end to a day in Inuyama.
Absolutely. All right, so we've explored Inuyama Castle Town, we've had the food, we've seen the fireworks. What's next?
Lead the way.
The next morning, they take us to this really serene and historic place, Yuchin Garden.
A garden? I like where this is going. Tell me more.
This is no ordinary garden. So Yuchin was built by the brother of Oda Nobunaga.
Oda Nobunaga.
Yeah.
Okay, quick history lesson for those of us who may not know. Who was Oda Nobunaga?
Right. So Oda Nobunaga was this powerful feudal lord in 16th century Japan, and he was instrumental in unifying Japan, like a legendary figure, known for his military prowess and ambition.
Okay, so this garden has some serious historical significance.
Definitely. It's like stepping into a piece of history.
What's the garden like?
Well, the vlogger describes it as a place of real tranquility. Manicured landscapes, seasonal beauty. He mentions that it's especially stunning during cherry blossom season in the spring, and then when the leaves change in autumn.
Wow. Sounds beautiful and peaceful. The perfect escape. Is there anything else noteworthy about this garden?
There is. Within the garden is this hidden treasure. It's called the Joan Tea Room.
Joan Tea Room.
And it's the oldest tea room in all of Japan.
The oldest in all of Japan. Wow.
Yeah. And not only is it the oldest, but it's also designated as a national treasure, just like Inuyama Castle.
Wow. I can't imagine sipping tea in a space that's that steeped in history.
It must be incredible.
Okay, so we've had our dose of nature and tranquility. Where do we go from here?
Well, speaking of national treasures, our next stop is Inuyama Castle itself. And this is one of only 12 remaining original castles in Japan with a wooden structure.
This is one we could see from the hotel room, right?
That's right. And it's truly an architectural marvel, to have survived all these centuries. It's like a glimpse into Japan's feudal past.
And you said it's a national treasure, too. So how many castles in Japan have that designation?
Only 5. Out of hundreds of castles across Japan. So that really shows how important this one is historically and culturally.
It must be pretty special.
It is. So what makes it so special? Well, aside from that amazing wooden structure that survived for centuries, It's also the location. It's built on this hill overlooking the Kiso River.
That's right, I remember that.
And the view from the castle keep, which the vlogger shows us, is breathtaking. You can see for miles, and you can actually spot their hotel from up there.
I can only imagine what it must have been like to stand there, taking in that view, back when, feudal lords and samurai would have been there.
Right, and the vlogger even reflects on that. Like, what would those people have felt standing in that very spot?
Yeah. We've covered a lot of ground already. We've seen the castle town, Yushin Garden, the castle itself. We've talked about the food. This place is pretty incredible.
It is. And what stands out to me is how seamlessly it blends history and modern life. You have these ancient landmarks, preserved streets, and traditional crafts alongside modern hotels and restaurants. It's like the past and present are in constant dialogue.
Yeah, and it's not just about seeing the sights. It's about feeling the pulse of the city, connecting with its history, and appreciating the layers of culture that have shaped it.
Exactly. And for someone like you who values authentic experiences and a slower pace of travel, Inuyama seems like an ideal destination.
I'm convinced. It beckons you to slow down, savor the moment, and discover a side of Japan that's often overlooked.
And that's the beauty of venturing off the beaten path. You uncover these hidden gems, create unique memories, and gain a deeper appreciation for the diverse cultures and experiences our world has to offer.
Well said. Inuyama has definitely caught my attention.
But wait. Our Inuyama adventure isn't over yet. There's more to explore, more to taste, more to discover.
Oh.
So stay tuned as we delve even deeper into the heart of adults Inuyama. So, the vlogger's day continues. And after all that history at the castle, they decide to change gears a bit, explore something a little more intimate, I guess.
Okay, I like that. After all that exploring, a change of pace sounds nice. What did they do?
Well, they head to a local cafe for a little afternoon pick-me-up. But not just any cafe.
Don't leave me hanging. What kind of cafe?
A traditional Japanese tea house. Tatami mats, those delicate teacups, that sense of tranquility.
Oh, I love that. It really does fit with that adults Inuyama concept. Appreciating those simple things, the rituals. What did they have at the tea house?
They had matcha.
Matcha. Good choice.
Right. It's like that finely ground green tea powder. And it's, a central part of the Japanese tea ceremony.
I love matcha.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine having it in a traditional tea house like that in Japan. It elevates the whole experience.
Oh, for sure. It becomes more than just a drink. It's like an art form.
Exactly. Now, I can't have tea without thinking about something sweet to go with it. Did they mention any Japanese sweets?
They did. They had some wagashi.
Wagashi, okay.
Those traditional Japanese confections, often made with mochi, red bean paste, agar-agar, things like that.
Yeah. I've seen pictures. They're so beautiful, like little works of art.
They are. And the vlogger described them as delicate and subtly sweet, which paired perfectly with the slight bitterness of the matcha.
Man, that sounds like the perfect afternoon. I'm really getting a feel for what adults Inuyama is all about. Slowing down, appreciating the finer things, really immersing yourself in the culture.
Exactly. It's a different way to travel, less about rushing around and more about really experiencing a place.
Okay, so we've had our history, the food, the Zen moment at the tea house. What's next?
Well, the journey takes us to the banks of the Kiso River.
Ah, the Kiso River. Remember, that's what Inuyama Castle was overlooking.
That's right. And it's more than just a pretty view. The Kiso River was actually really important for the development of Inuyama and the whole region.
Oh, really? I'm curious. How so?
Well, for centuries, it was this major transportation route connecting Inuyama to all these other towns and cities. It was how goods were transported, facilitating trade, contributing to the economy.
This is like the lifeblood of the area.
Yeah, exactly. And even today, it's still a source of life and beauty for the city. People enjoy walks along the banks, boat rides, all that.
Speaking of the river, I remember the vlogger mentioned something about cormorant fishing. What was that?
Oh, yeah. Cormorant fishing. It's this ancient fishing method practiced in Japan for centuries. And they use trained cormorants.
Trained cormorants, like birds.
Yeah. They're these large aquatic birds, and they actually help the fishermen catch fish.
Okay, wait. Trained birds, how does that even work?
So they put a ring around the bird's neck, which stops them from swallowing the bigger fish. The cormorants dive down, catch the fish in their beak, and then bring them back to the fishermen.
That's incredible. It's like this amazing partnership between humans and animals that's been, perfected over generations.
Exactly. And it really highlights that connection with nature that's so central to Japanese culture. We've got history, culture, nature, and a slower pace of life. What more could you want?
I know. Inuyama is checking all the boxes.
It is. And there's still more.
Okay, tell me, what's next?
So as the sun starts to set on the vlogger's Inuyama adventure, they find this hidden gem. It seems to perfectly embody this adult's Inuyama concept we've been talking about.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
A small family-run sake brewery.
Ooh, sake. I've always been fascinated by sake brewing. It's such a traditional and revered craft in Japan.
And this brewery, from how the vlogger describes it, is like the epitome of traditional sake making. It's been passed down through generations, each one upholding those time-honored techniques.
Oh, man. I can practically smell the fermenting rice. Do they get to try any of the sake?
Oh, yeah. The owners welcomed them in and offered them a tasting.
Oh, I'm jealous. What kind of sake?
Well, they mentioned trying junmai sake.
Junmai.
Yeah, considered a premium sake. Made only with rice, water, and koji, that mold that's essential for fermentation.
Junmai is known for its pure, clean flavor.
Exactly. It's all about the rice and the skill of the brewer.
Did they try any other types of sake?
They did. They also had a jinjo sake, which is known for its fruitier aromas and elegant, refined flavor.
Jinjo, my favorite. So smooth and delicate.
The vloggers seemed to agree, described it as like a symphony of flavors with melon, pear, and a hint of floral sweetness.
Wow. To be sipping sake in a traditional brewery, surrounded by, the aroma of the fermenting rice, that's an immersive experience right there.
It really is. And again, it ties back into adults Inuyama, right?
Yeah.
Taking the time to appreciate these artisanal crafts. Savor those flavors that have been cultivated over generations.
Absolutely. It's like Inuyama is less a city and more a state of mind.
I think you're right. It's a good reminder that travel doesn't have to be about rushing around. It can be about slowing down, immersing yourself in the local culture, and enjoying those simple pleasures.
Well said. As we wrap up our virtual tour of Inuyama, I'm feeling pretty inspired. This city seems to have that perfect balance of history, culture, nature, tranquility.
It does. But there's one more stop on our journey, so stay tuned as we finish our deep dive and hear what final thoughts the vlogger leaves us with.
Okay, we're back and ready for the grand finale. I'm so curious to hear the vlogger's final thoughts on Inuyama. What kind of lasting impression did this city leave them with?
Well, as their Inuyama adventure ends, the vlogger really focuses on this sense of peace they feel, like they've rediscovered a slower, more mindful way of life.
That's something that stood out to me throughout this whole deep dive. Inuyama has this unique blend of stimulation and relaxation. You have all this history and culture to explore, but at the same time, there's a sense of tranquility that permeates everything.
It really does seem like a blueprint for a more balanced life. Engaging with the world, but also slowing down, appreciating the simple things, reconnecting with yourself.
That's a message I think a lot of us need to hear these days. We get so caught up in the rush, especially with travel. It's all about go, 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 see as much as you can. But Inuyama seems to encourage a different approach.
Right, it's more about savoring the journey, being present in each moment, quality over quantity.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from Inuyama?
I think Inuyama challenges us to really think about what we want from travel. It reminds us that sometimes the most rewarding trips are the ones that take us off the beaten path, the ones that introduce us to new ways of seeing the world and help us reconnect with ourselves along the way.
Beautifully said. Inuyama may not be on everyone's radar, but for those seeking authenticity, tranquility, and that deep connection with Japanese culture, it sounds like a hidden gem.
It is, and in the end, I think that's what adults Inuyama really represents. A journey of self-discovery, a celebration of the simple things, and an invitation to embrace a slower, more mindful way of life.
Well, Inuyama, you've officially won me over, adding you to my travel bucket list, and I encourage our listeners to do the same. Who knows what hidden gems you might uncover when you venture off the beaten path.
Until next time, happy travels.